Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Kim and welcome back to Uncommonkim. So today I'm going to be going through a list of spooky tropes with you and books that I recommend for each trope. I have got 10 spooky tropes and I've got a book for each. So I'm going to go through each trope and give you one recommendation based off of said trope. Because why not? You know? And to make this cute and casual, I've got a hot chockey. This is staying spooky. Woo, spooky vibes. That's way too hot, I'm not drinking that yet. So for the first prompt, or trope shall we say, I've just gone for witches. You know, spooky witches, whether that's like the Hocus Pocus style witches you think of, or like Sabrina. I've actually put 2 books to this, depending on what way you want to go around it, neither of which are terrifying. So if spooky, scary books aren't your thing, both of these will work for you. So the first book I'm going to recommend to you is Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson. These are like your classic witches that live in, you know, our standard modern day that we don't know are there. So it has all the witchy magical feels within, but does have a nice action-packed story to go alongside it. So in this we follow a group of witches who have been friends since they were children but did end up going their own ways, but we now meet them as adults in the human world as they go about their day-to-day witchy lives. Whispers of a prophecy is forsaken that apparently will bring the covens to its knees and could be the end of the magistry altogether. And of course, our 4 best friends are caught in the grasp of it all. This is a really fun time. If you're into kind of your standard fantasies in general, this is a really good shout. But also does have those witchy fun vibes as well. And then the other witchy book is more on the cozy, cutesy side, and that is Rewitched by Lucy Jane Wood. This book is now part of a series. This is the first book, and the second being Uncharmed. But it is a really cute, cozy time where we follow our main character, Bella, or Belladonna Blackthorn, as she also is known, who has a magical spark but hasn't used it in a long time. And she works in a bookstore, which is very much like Waterstones. And it is very much a fun, cute, cozy time as she goes along these quests to keep her magic or risk losing it for good. As always, there is a really cute cat in this one, and it is just a nice, cute, fun time. If you're getting into witchy books or just want a nice, cozy witchy book for spooky season, this is a really good shout for that. I've changed angle as the previous one was slightly annoying me because of the little glare. Let's have a shippeth. That's good hot chocolate. I must say, not sponsored. Wish I was. But hot chocolate in a velvetizer just changes your life. The next trope I've gone for is top tier ending. So this is an ending that is top tier. This is an ending that sits with you and stays with you forever because you're like, holy fucking shit. The mentalness of it. And I've gone for a thriller for this one. And I've gone for The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson because the ending of this had me shook off. If you haven't been around here for long, you won't know my love for this book, but if you have, I'm sorry, but I'm going to tell you the synopsis all over again. So in this we follow a character called Belle who at the age of 2 was left and abandoned in a car by her mother, and her mother disappeared and poor Rachel was never seen again. 16 years later, and Belle is living with her family, and her dad has decided to allow some producers and photographers to come into the house to do a documentary on the disappearance of Rachel Price. While filming said documentary, Rachel Price reappears after 16 years, and we go along with Belle while she tries to figure out where the bloody hell her mum has been all this time. And holy fucking shit, was this good. I talk about this a lot as it was my favourite book of last year, but it's so good. I really recommend it. The twists and the turns, and honestly, the way this made me feel when Rachel reappeared, like the chapter where she reappears, will live in my soul forever, because did it scare the shit out of me. Like, honestly, left me shivering and absolutely cacking it, to be perfectly honest. But it was such a good vibe, and it is a great book to read for spooky season. Another good one is Not Quite Dead Yet, but I didn't think putting 2 Holly Jackson books in the same video was a good idea. But Not Quite Dead Yet has also got a very good ending. Read it. It's also by Holly Jackson, if you didn't know. The next prompt is supernatural entities. So when I say supernatural entities, I think of Stranger Things, with like a demigorgon and those kind of creatures, because like, what the fuck are they? They're an entity of some sort. And for this trope, I've gone for Meddling Kids by Edgar Cantero. Now, I actually am not the biggest fan of this book. I enjoy the concept, I enjoy the vibes. I did not expect the entity side to it, but it doesn't mean it wasn't done well, because it was. So if you can't tell based off of the title and the cover, it's meant to be like Scooby-Doo vibes. So in 1977, the Blayton Summer Detective Club unmasked the elusive Sleepy Lake Monster, another low-life fortune hunter who would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for those meddling kids. By 1990, the former detectives are haunted by strange, half-remembered events that cannot be explained by a guy in a mask. The time has come to get the team back together and find out what actually happened all those years ago. It's their only chance to end the nightmares and perhaps save the world. And do you know what? It is a fun, spooky time, and it is a great book for spooky season. But I just did not see the entity part coming, which is weird because I'm not going to show you in particular, but it's on the cover. So it didn't really make any sense to me, but I still really enjoyed it. I think I gave it like 3.5, 4 stars in the end. And it was still a good vibe, you know? The writing was really, really good, I will say. The next trope, I don't actually own the book I want to talk about, but I will put a photo here. And it is sour candy, and the trope is, that's fucked up. And that's such a me trope. That's fucked. That's fucked up. And this book is the definition of fucked up. I read it very recently, and good fucking Christ. For a 70-odd page book, it's fucked up. So we follow our main character who, before visiting Walmart one day, had no children, and then all of a sudden had a child, and the child was fucked. Fucked as fucked can be, and took over the house and made our main character do whatever he wanted, allowed him to eat what he wanted, but everyone else believed that this was his child. And it is the most weirdest but gripping book I've ever read. I couldn't put it down. I read it in one sitting, and yeah, it was an interesting read, to say the least. I did do a vlog where I read it, so I'll leave that link down below, but the definition of that's fucked up, in my opinion. The next trope I have is spooky scary. So spooky scary, I'm saying, is like spooky ghosts, paranormally elements, and weird fucked up shit happens without having any reasoning as to why it's happening. And for this one, I'm going for The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. This is a book I read this year, I think, and I gave it 5 stars. It was freaking great. I loved this. It is very creepy and chilling throughout. We have a dual perspective. In present day, we follow Carly, and in previous time we follow Viv, who is Carly's auntie, who went missing. We follow her auntie as she's going around this motel that she works at, and weird creepy things start happening, and then one night she disappears. And then we go to Carly's perspective, where she cannot let the story go of what happened to her auntie. So she goes to this motel in New York, and she discovers that nothing has changed since her auntie went missing, and she soon finds herself stuck in the same mysteries and weirdness that her auntie was in when her auntie worked at the Sundown Motel. This is such a fun vibe, and I really enjoy Simone St. James's writing, and I only discovered her as an author this year, having read 3 of her books this year, and I'm very excited to read more from her. I believe she has a new book coming out early next year, which I'm really excited for. But they all have different tropes that are just so fun and enticing, and yeah, this one was spooky scary. And it did have me on edges at times, and it was just so fun. It was just a fun read, honestly. The next trope is one, if you ask anyone that knows me, Kim, what's that main thing that scares Kim, you know? They'll all say to you, creepy kids. Creepy kids. Creepy kids. Always when you watch like horror films and there's a creepy child, that's it. Like, you know, adios amigos, I'm done. But in books, they're not as bad, but they do still freak me out. So the next trope is creepy kids, and the book I have chosen for this one is Incidents Around the House by Josh Malerman. I read this during Summerween, and holy fucking shit. It's not even the child that's creepy. I know that it kind of is, but this, all I'm going to say to you, I'm not going to give you the synopsis. Actually, I'll give you bits, but all you need to know going into this is in the, you're reading this in the eyes of an 8-year-old girl. 8-year-old Bella, who we see the story unravel from her eyes the whole way through. We see what she sees. It's fucked, honestly. Like, there's just one line I'll read to you. There's Mummy, Daddo, Grandma Ruth, but there is also other Mummy, a maleficent entity who asks her every day, can I go inside your heart? And this book is fucked. It's fucked. So we follow Bella throughout with her family and other Mummy, as other Mummy wants to go into Bella's heart, and we don't really know what that means. All we know is it's probably bad, and Bella constantly says no. I will say for this, if you are going to read it, get the flipping audiobook, because the audiobook is so good, because it's literally like an 8-year-old's voice. So just then when I was reading that and I said Daddo, because that's what she calls him, I can hear her voice saying it. The audiobook was phenomenal, and this book was really fucking good too, but yeah, pre-warning, fucked. Wasn't a Scooby-Doo coming after you, gonna solve that mystery? We caught her back, now we find another clue. Scooby snacks, I'll be waiting here for you. Wasn't a Scooby-Doo coming after you, gonna solve that mystery? Anyway, the next trope I have is mysterious neighbour. So by this I mean that we're probably in like a town environment, and a new mysterious neighbour has moved in to the house next door or across the road, and something's not quite right about them in particular. And the book I've chosen for this is The Southerners Book Club Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. I haven't read this book in years, but there's a specific scene that has permanently scarred my brain. And we do have a very mysterious neighbour move in across the road from our main character, which I can't remember her name. Patricia. Patricia. So Patricia lives in this really small, quaint, cozy town. Her husband works all the time. She has teenage boys, and life as a working mother is life as a working mother. And the only thing that keeps her sane is her very cute, cozy, close-knit book club, which she attends once a week, where they talk about true crime, funnily enough. And then a mysterious young man by the name of James, I believe his name is, James Harris, walks into her life and moves across the road from her. And slowly children start going missing, and people start moving away, and weird and wacky things begin happening when James has moved to town. I love Grady Hendrix, and I've pretty much read most things he's brought out, and he is like a standard 4-star author for me. This was a 5 because I loved this. I do want to reread it maybe next year, because it has been a few years since I've read this. And it is definitely up there with one of my favourites. So yeah, fucking good vibe. Also, if you can't tell what the neighbour is, The next trope is final girl. So a final girl is someone, it's not even someone, a girl who at the end of the horror film is the only one left alive. And it's like a thing at the end of most horror films now. There's the final girl who is the only one left standing at the end of a horror film. And for this I have also got another Grady Hendrix book that is the Final Girl support group, where a bunch of final girls go to this support group together. So it's, yeah, we basically follow a bunch of girls who survive different situations such as massacres, murders, so on and so forth, and then she goes to these meetings with 5 other final girls who they're now trying to put their lives back together after the horrific happened. But slowly but surely one woman goes missing, and then another, and then another, and someone is trying to kill off the final girls. But one thing that's known for sure about these final girls is that they are made of the hard shit. So someone is trying to take them over and take them down, but they're ready to deal with it. So yeah, it's a really good fun vibe. I didn't think I was gonna like this as much as I did, but actually it was pretty fun. Okay, the second to last trope is vampires. You know, the guys with the pointy teeth, the ones that don't like garlic, and the very, very pale ones that can't go in sunshine. Found out the reasons vampires drink blood is because obviously they can't go outside, so they can't get vitamin C, and there must be vitamin C in our blood. Didn't know that. Don't know if I'm just dumb, but I didn't know that. So for said vampire prompt, I have gone for The Gathering by C.J. Tudor. I love C.J. Tudor with every ounce of my being, and most of her books have been a 5-star for me, including this one. So this is one of her most recent releases. That sounds about right. When did this come out? Last year. Yes. This is her most recent release, and I absolutely loved it. So we are in a small Alaskan town, and a boy gets discovered with his throat slipped, like you fall. Ripped. Throat ripped open. The people in this town know of a deadly sacrifice that happened 25 years before, and having this boy's body be found is bringing up some bad blood. So an out-of-state detective is brought in to assist the sheriff of this small town, but the people of this town believe they know who killed this little boy, and they believe it is a part of the vampire colony. However, the evidence isn't stacking up, and our main detective, Barbara, believes that actually there is more to do with this than it just being the sake of the vampire colonies. And we follow her as she's trying to investigate the murder, and also some weird and other shit happens as this goes on. But this is such a good book. I love this book so much, and I love C.J. Tudor's writing. I feel like a lot of people would find it really easy to read. She was one of the first thriller writers I read, and she's now up there with my top 10. So yeah, they do say if you quite like Stephen King, this is like the female Stephen King, so give it a go. Also vampires, you're welcome. And then the final trope is one of my favourite tropes, and it's haunted house. I love a haunted house. I've read quite a few haunted house books over the years now, and yeah, it's one of my favourite tropes, and I usually typically read quite a lot of them around Summerween in that kind of sense. So I read the September House this year and loved it, and also How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix as well, which I also really enjoyed. And then the other one, which is up there with one of my favourites, is We Used to Live Here by Marcus Klewa. This is another book that I read this year, and I read it in one sitting because to this day I still have no idea what the fuck I read. It was phenomenal. The twists and turns, the what the fucks, it was so good, and really makes you feel uneasy throughout because you're like, oh, what the fuck. So in this we follow a young couple called Charlie and Eve who can't believe they got their luck in getting this house really cheap. And then one day this man knocks on their door with his family and says, oh, I used to live here, do you mind if I come in and show my family around? And because our main characters are people pleasers, they say yes. But then it just gets more and more difficult to get this man out of their house, and as soon as they enter, strange things start happening and things start changing, and these people can't or won't get the hint that they're no longer welcome in this house. And then the girls are convinced something's terribly wrong, and Charlie goes missing, and Eve then starts to lose her grip on reality, and everything just goes wrong from there. And even now, knowing how this book ends, I'm still going to sit here and say, what the fuck? But this was such a good, fun vibe. I really recommend this to anyone and anyone. If you have never read a haunted house story before, start here. If you have read a haunted house story, read it. If you're new to horror, thriller, it works. It works because you don't know what you're going to expect at all. And it is just a real cool, fun vibe, you know. But those are 10 tropes and 10 books that I recommend to you guys based on the tropes. Let me know if you've read any of these, or if you have any tropes or books you would recommend to these, or tropes that you would love me to talk about next, because I can always do this again if you enjoy it. Leave a ghost emoji down below to let me know you made it to the end of the video. Like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you soon for another video. Bye.